students, welcome to our English class. I am Miss Chotabelle, and today we are going to start off with the first unit, that is art, design and fashion. So under this unit we are going to discuss about speech, news article, informative articles and poem. Now I'm going to explain the concepts, and along with that I'll be sharing you the slides as well. So without much further ado, let's get started. Let us first look at what a rhetorical device is. So, what is a rhetorical device? It is a device or technique used by the speaker or writer to convince his or her audience. Rhetoric is the art of persuasive speaking or writing. Now, when you use a rhetoric in your speech, you're trying to convince the audience. Being asked questions, it makes the audience think about them and try to give an answer themselves. In literature, we see the writers using rhetorics to grab the attention of the readers. So that is rhetoric. Now, let us look at some rhetorical devices. The first one is deliberate repetition. This is nothing but purposefully or intentionally repeating something. Example, it's given in the slide. I want my money right now, right here, all right? And the second one, it's okay to be not okay. So those are deliberate repetition. The next one is antithesis. So antithesis is it is a direct opposite of someone or something. Now when two opposites are introduced together for contrasting effect, now that is antithesis. For example, to err is human, to forgive divine. And the other one, speech is silver, but silent is gold. So those are the examples of antithesis. Juxtaposition. So juxtaposition is placing two ideas next to each other. So it is a comparison and contrast between two concepts that can be either similar or different. So the example is there in the slide. Beggars can't be choosers, or better late than never. So those are examples of juxtaposition. The next one is rule of three or power of three. So here, power of three, it suggests that things come in threes are funnier, more satisfying and more effective. So the example here is I came, I saw, I conquered, or stop, drop and roll. And another example which is very famous, rock, paper, scissors. So these are examples of rule of three. Inverted commas for ironic effect. Now the example here is, what about a cosmetic product that is good for your hair? Now we can see that good is under inverted comma. This brings out the ironic effect. Now the irony is the cosmetic product really good for your hair or is it bad? So that is it. Now the next one is italics for emphasis. So example here is graffiti is urban art, street art which people associate with gangs and their territories. So here emphasis is given in italics, that is urban street art, gangs and territories. The next one is bathos. So bathos is a ridiculous anticlimax. It is a sudden turn from something serious to something silly. So the example here is, he spent his final hour of life doing what he loves most, arguing with his wife. Now if you look at this example, we see the description of someone's final hour. Somebody is dying. The first part is serious, but if you look at the second part, there is an unexpected humor, that is arguing with his wife. So this is called bathos. The next one is meiosis. Meiosis is an understatement or sarcasm that belittles something or somebody. So the example here is, he is not too thin, describing an obese person. So this is an understatement describing an obese person, saying that he is not too thin. The next one is tautology. Tautology is another way of saying the same thing. Example, it's given, the dog is either brown or the dog is not brown. So that is tautology. The next one is euphemism. So euphemism is making something sound more pleasant. So it is a way of saying something harsh or offensive in a more pleasant way. So the example here is, instead of saying he died this morning, we can say he passed away this morning. Or another example here, instead of saying John is a disabled person, we can say John is a differently abled person. So those are examples of euphemism. Now the next one is hyperbole. Hyperbole is purposeful exaggeration. It is something over-exaggerating something. So the example here is, I am so hungry, I could eat a horse. So this is an expression to show that you are very, very hungry. Another example here is, I have a million things to do. So these are examples of hyperboles. Now we have finally come to speech. So what is a speech? Speech is an effective way of giving a message to a large audience. It is a powerful tool for spreading awareness regarding different social issues or information. So it is an expression of ideas and thoughts in spoken words to communicate to an audience. Let us look at the speech format now. So for speech format, first give the title or heading. Now this is optional. After that, you're supposed to start with an introduction. So start by greeting the audience or the listeners and announce what you're going to talk about. And then give a striking remark. For example, you can use some rhetoricals or some punchline in order to draw the attention of your audience. After that comes the exposition of the topic. What are the ideas that you're going to talk about? Build up the sequences. To support your ideas, look for more relevant example, evidence or data. And then comes, after that, you're going to summarize the most important points in your speech, but you're not going to repeat them. Then comes the conclusion. Conclude with a call for action, an appeal, a warning, a request, or just an expression of thanks. The next one is news article. So what is a news article? News article is a piece of writing that is published in newspapers or magazines. It discusses current or recent news of either general interest or of a specific topic. So it can include accounts of eyewitnesses to the happening event. Informative article. So what is an informative article? Informative article, it gives the readers impartial facts about a topic. It provides the readers with details on a given topic. So it is not an argumentative article because it presents facts. It covers all the important details like what happened, where did it happen, when did it happen, who were the people involved, why did it happen, and how did it happen. So newspaper reporting, it uses informative articles. Here are the points to remember when writing a report. So when writing a report, present all necessary information as clearly as possible. And then the next one, write in a practical and business-like manner. And the next one, write in indirect speech and in passive voice. The next one, write in third-person form and avoid using pronouns. The last one, it should have a proper heading and simple language. So you should always write it in simple language because you want to convey a clear message to the readers. Let us take a quick look at some grammar now. So I want you to pay attention to this slide. Now you can see the red colored letters here. So these are verbs. Now the verbs used in these red colored letters, they are called non-finite verbs. So some verb ending in ing or verb ending in ed or en and verb to, they cannot work as finite verbs. So they are called verbals. They function as nouns or adjectives or adverbs. So verbals are of three kinds. They are infinitives, participles, and gerunds. So in this lesson, we're going to study about the infinitives. Do plus do, do plus verb. So let's look at the infinitives now. The word do, before the verb forms the infinitive. So the infinitive makes the verb. Now the use of infinitives here in a noun may be the subject of a verb, the object of a verb, or the complement of a verb. So that is it. We will now study the poem Maggie and Millie and Molly and May by E. Cummings. So you'll find this poem in your Cambridge Checkpoint English Course Book 9 in page 12. So this poem is about a group of girls who visit the beach and each of them experience what it means to play in their own unique way. So let us look at the poem now. Maggie and Millie and Molly and May went down to the beach to play one day. So in the first stanza, the girls Maggie, Millie, Molly and May, they decided to go down to the beach to play. Every one of them, they went separate direction and encounter different adventures. So that is the first stanza. Now let's look at the second and third stanza. And Maggie discovered a seashell that sang so sweetly she couldn't remember her troubles. And Millie befriended a stranded star whose rays 5 languid fingers were. So here, in the second and third stanza, in the second stanza, Maggie discovered a seashell that sings all her trouble away. In other words, she could hear the ocean and the sweet sound took away all her worries. She experienced the joy of relaxation there at the beach. Now in the third stanza, it describes Millie making friends with an abandoned starfish that has 5 long arms. So she's not afraid of the starfish because she befriended it. Now this shows that she is a positive person and accepts things the way they are. Now let us take a look at the next 2 stanzas. And Molly was chased by a horrible thing which raced sideways while blowing bubbles, and May came home with a smooth round stone, as small as a world and as large as a lawn. So here in the fourth and fifth stanza, it talks about how poor Molly was chased by a horrible thing. Maybe it was a crab because it was running sideways. Unlike Millie, she is not having a good time here because she is being chased by a weird looking creature that runs sideways. So she is having a tough time making friends with the creatures. Now fifth stanza, it shows that May is probably a quiet soul who keeps to herself. May comes home with a smooth round stone. Now this is a form of imagery that compares little May to a small stone. Now let's look at the final stanza. For whatever we lose like a you or a me, it's always ourselves we find in the sea. So in the final stanza, the poet tells us that it is okay to let ourselves go, to be free, while enjoying the beach and all its beauty. The beach can awaken our sense of calmness, acceptance, and alertness. So that is the poem. What is the message that the poet wants or the poem wants to convey here? The sea, it symbolized life, and every one of us experience life differently. So life itself is so beautifully created for each one of us to experience and to live by. So that is the poem. Alright, so that is the end of this unit. I hope you have learned something through this. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and stay safe.